it's me. Now, I think I've made this clear over the years and all the videos, but in addition to video games, which I am a big fan of, I also enjoy movies. And recently, it has come to my attention that the people that make movies are stupid. Like just excruciatingly stupid. Now, when I say that, I should add a disclaimer that I'm not referring to the people that make movies that I'm in. Those people are brilliant, and I very much appreciate them, and as far as I'm concerned, they can do no wrong. But all the other folks, just no brains in their heads. And I have two specific ones I'm going to talk about now. The first being the guy that made the new Jurassic Park movie. Now, if you're not aware, a new Jurassic Park movie came out just recently, just this past weekend. July 4th weekend, that happened to be. And right off the bat, releasing a movie on a holiday weekend like that, to me, seems weird. I know it's a time when everyone's off work, so you would think, oh, hey, they all have free time, they can go to the movies. But at the same time, going to movies, to me at least, very much feels like an afternoon/evening activity. It's something you do toward the end of the day. You know, anytime I've gone to a midday matinee or something, when I come out of the theater and there's still daylight, it's weird. It's off-putting. It doesn't seem normal. I expect to go into a movie and have that be the last activity of my day. So, on July 4th weekend, people want to watch fireworks. You know, they want to do things with their family. They're having cookouts and swimming in pools and doing stuff like that. They're not going to go sit in a theater. So, having it come out that weekend, to me, just seems weird. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe traditionally movies that drop on July 4th do well. I don't know. But just logically and from my experience in both movie-going and existing as a human on July 4th, that seems like a weird weekend to launch a movie. But, that aside, the director of this movie has decided that the reason there is not as much hype about the movie, or it's not doing as well, is because people just aren't excited about dinosaurs anymore. He said that out loud to other people in an interview, and we all know that he said that now. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard a human say. I don't think there's anything you could do to get people not excited about dinosaurs anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure if we built the actual Jurassic Park, it wouldn't be like the movies where the novelty wore off and people stopped going. People will always be excited about dinosaurs. They're fucking dinosaurs! Like, when I was a kid, I used to go to the zoo with my great aunt. We would go, I don't even know how frequently. I remember going with some regularity, but I was a child. My concept of time didn't really work. So I don't know. Maybe it was once a year. Maybe it was once a month. No idea. The point remains, we used to go to the zoo with some regularity. And my great aunt really loved elephants. So every time we went, we would spend probably more time in front of the elephant enclosure watching them than we would any other animal. You know, they were her favorite. She loved to just watch them. They're these massive animals, you know? I don't know why I'm explaining elephant like you're not familiar. But they're very large and imposing, and it's just really cool to see up close and in person because all of their movements, like, to them are just fluid and natural and normal, but to us, even the smallest movement they make is impressive because of how just massive they are. You know, just the scale of that animal is crazy. Dinosaurs could eat elephants for a snack. So, to say that you would like, I still look at the elephants when I go to the zoo. They're still impressive to me because of their size and their scale. And they're nowhere near as big as a dinosaur. So, if there were dinosaurs in a zoo, I would never stop going to that zoo, ever, because they have dinosaurs. To bring it back to the movie, and movies in general, when there is a movie with dinosaurs in it, I will go to see it. In fact, I'm going to go see this new Jurassic Park, and the trailer looked like shit to me. Like, the fact that it has dinosaurs is the whole reason I'm going to see it. So for the director to blame his crap movie not performing well on people losing interest in dinosaurs is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, if your movie's not performing well, maybe it's because you bastardized one of the most majestic and wondrous movie scores that is used completely expertly to highlight just the amazing wonder on the characters' faces as they witness full, like, what is it, a brachiosaur? Brontosaur? Bronca? I don't know. The tall, long-necked dinosaurs. Littlefoot. When they saw Littlefoot in real life for the first time in the movie, that's when the score swells. And it's awe-inspiring. It is amazing. Everyone who saw that movie once remembers that moment and how the score made them feel and how just awe-inspiring the whole movie is. And if you go back and watch it today, it's just as good. It still holds up. Everything still hits amazingly. The tension when they're climbing down the cliff that appeared out of nowhere to get away from the T-Rex and the falling Jeep. The even more tension at the end when the two kids are trying to escape what is supposed to be the smartest of all the dinosaurs, which in real life would have eaten those kids in like 2 seconds. Everything about that movie is amazing. And the reason the new movie sucks is because it kind of threw all that away. You know, the score was used in the trailer as just like epic movie trailer generic score. Like, they turned it into like an action-y, tense kind of trailer music and not the orchestral, wondrous thing that it was. And that just felt like a misstep right off the bat. And that's not even getting into the story, which just seems really generic. You know, there's these, I don't know, paramilitary commando types that are flying a couple scientists into a yet undiscovered or unmentioned Jurassic Park adjacent island to find yet another group of mutated dinosaurs that we haven't already seen in all the other groups of mutated dinosaurs for an unknown and probably doesn't really matter reason. And it looks like a generic action film. And again, dinosaurs. So I still want to see it. But I'm not as excited or hyped about this movie as I have been for some of the other ones because I don't go into Jurassic Park for generic action. Like, I want the character interactions. I want the wonder of them interacting with dinosaurs. And so it just, I don't know, it feels like they lost what made the franchise so fun. Like, there are other ways to find dinosaurs. I have a ton of B-budget Jurassic Park knockoffs or like D-budget like horror movies based on dinosaurs and just mockbusters, and there's so many other ways to see dinosaurs in movies or in TV. Doctor Who had a dinosaur episode. Like, you can get dinosaurs other places. Jurassic Park was a special thing because of how well they told the story and how good the characters were. And that's the reason no one cares about your new movie, because you took all the magic away and your movie looks dumb. It's not because people don't like dinosaurs anymore. That's just a stupid thing to say, and you're a stupid person for saying it. But that is not the only stupid person. There was another stupid director who honestly annoyed me even more because he didn't give one stupid excuse. He gave like a half dozen. And this is, I want to say Jason Blum? It's one half of Blumhouse. And he's just the stupidest person, and I kind of want to stop watching Blumhouse movies just, on principle, because, God, what a dumb thing he said. So, if you remember the movie Megan, it came out around the time the Chucky show was still airing, and, the living or haunted doll subgenre was very viable and successful. And so someone made Megan, which was an AI assistant robot type doll thing that gained, advanced AI, somewhat human sentience, and started enacting its own will to protect the kid it's supposed to protect. So it's still following its programming, It just kind of went off script as to how to do that. Which, sidebar, if we ever had the robot uprising, that would be how it happened. Like, if the computer had a directive or an objective it's trying to meet, if it has something it's supposed to do, but it also has the ability to learn and rewrite its own code, it would find more efficient or more effective ways to meet its objective. That's what computers do. They do what they're told. So the computer wouldn't immediately start thinking for itself and just cause chaos for the sake of chaos. It would do basically what Megan did and realize that, hey, if I want to keep this kid safe, instead of trying to remove the child from harm every time there is a bad situation, I can proactively get rid of all the things that would create those bad situations. You know, murder all the bullies and then no one will bully my child. But anyway, the movie was kind of a runaway hit. It was made on a relatively low budget. It wasn't hyped up too much. It was somewhat unknown, but the horror community loved it. Again, you know, the haunted doll subgenre was doing well at the time. The Chucky show was thriving. It hadn't been canceled yet, which it never should have been. I didn't even like the third season that much, but I still wanted it to keep going. But, like, when it came out, you know, people loved it. And so the idiots at Blumhouse decided, hey, now that we have a franchise that people like, and there's more attention, and there's a demand for a sequel, what we'll do is we'll make a sequel to this horror movie about the haunted doll thing, but we'll change everything about it. The doll that was a killer is now going to be the hero, and the horror movie with the tension and the gruesome murders and stuff is now going to be a generic sci-fi action flick. And wouldn't you know it, if you create a movie and it finds an audience and it does well and is successful with that audience, if you change the movie entirely so that it's not what that audience wants, it's not going to do well anymore. It would be like if a video game, let's say Halo. Right here. This is Halo. This is a frat boy multiplayer shooter. You know, it does have a story mode, at least in this original one it did, but Microsoft quickly learned when this game came out, you know, people would play the campaign, but then mostly they would just do LAN parties so that they could play multiplayer matches. That was what people wanted out of this game. So Microsoft said, okay, let's expand the multiplayer more. Let's give them more maps. Let's focus on the multiplayer aspect and make that more fun for people, because that's what our audience wants. That's who's drawn to this game. That is what they want out of this experience, and if we give them more of that, we'll get more money. It's kind of the opposite of what Nintendo did with the new Mario Kart. But if Microsoft were to take this game, Halo, and said, hey, we know that everyone really enjoyed the multiplayer arena shooter style aspect of the game. That was where most of their time was spent while playing it. So we've decided to, for the sequel, make an off-road racing game based entirely on the Warthog and how it handles in game. People would not buy that as much. The franchise would not have done well. It would not have taken off because that's not what your audience wanted. They told you what they wanted by how they interacted with your media and how they spent their time and what they said about it. So if you throw all of that away and just make a random decision based on literally nothing, then you can't be surprised when it does poorly. But Mr. Blum, the moron that he is, was apparently surprised. And then he decided to start coming up with reasons as to why it failed. One of them being, you know, it came out in the summer, and it probably should have been like a Halloween era movie. Like, it should have come out in the fall. But like, no. Horror movies come out in the summer, and they do well. Sinners came out not too long ago. That was spring, not summer, but that did really well, because it was a good movie. There was other recent horror movies, I'm forgetting them now, but there was one I saw in theaters not so long ago that I actually thoroughly enjoyed, which you wouldn't know because I completely blanking on what movie it was right now. But horror movies can come out any time of year, and if it's a good movie, people will watch and enjoy them. Over this last weekend, the same weekend, July 4th weekend, it was on July 4th actually, the short horror film, The Incident at the Kingsbury Manor, or I think it's just The Incident at Kingsbury Manor. I don't know. It's a short film that I was the assistant director on. I really should know what it's called. And that released on July 4th. And a bunch of people online who review, horror content or short film content or independent content, they all saw it. They went out of their way to watch it and then raved about it. They enjoyed it because you can enjoy horror movies in the summer. It is a thing that people do. They just have to be good. And they have to be horror. So that excuse was dumb. But then the next excuse, which is the complete opposite of that first one, is that, well, there was too much competition in the horror space, so I think that's why people didn't watch our movie. Which, again, no. First of all, that does contradict what you just said, because if you're saying that movies don't do well in the summer, horror movies don't, then how are those other horror movies that are drawing away all your fans, how are they doing well? Which is it, jackass? Spoiler alert, it's neither. Those are both wrong. So yeah, that was a very stupid thing to say too. Then he said that, oh, well, we were treating Megan like Superman, and, we thought we could just do anything with her, and we overestimated how much people were interested in the character and in the franchise. And it's like, no, the first movie did well because people are interested in the character and the franchise. The only person that's apparently not interested in the character and it wasn't a franchise when it first came out, but now it is, in the franchise, is you, moron, because you're the one who changed the character and the genre of the franchise. So once again, it's a dumbass thing to say, because it's not even close to true, and it's laughably stupid how easy it is for all of us to see that none of what you're saying makes sense. But he didn't stop there. He kept going. He spit out a bunch of other excuses. I don't even remember what they all were at the moment. Every one of them was dumber and dumber. And then he said, oh my God. Okay. So first he said, we may, and this was from a direct, you know what? Please hold. I want to pull out the actual direct quote and read it for you because I don't want to misquote it. I want to make sure I'm not representing poorly the stupidity of his words. I want you to know what he said because it's just so dumb, and I don't want you to think my hyperbole is getting in the way of reality. I want you to know that all the stupidity is real and accurate. So, phone, you are failing me right now. You are failing me so hard, and I hate you for this. Okay, here we go. Well, no, he didn't say well. He said we'll. I didn't read the apostrophe. Let me try it again. We'll never really know why this movie didn't work. Sir, we know why it didn't work. You made a horror movie that people enjoyed because it had a cool villain and a fun premise, and it fits into a subgenre that has a lot of fans, myself included. Love the haunted toy subgenre. It is my favorite subgenre of horror. So we know why it failed. It's because you changed it. It was a good thing we all like, and then you made it something else. We didn't want that. But I'll continue. Even if the financial results are not there, we took a shot, right? We said, can we take this horror movie and turn it into a crazy sci-fi action whatever? He said whatever. How are you that blasé about your own creations, your own projects, the things that essentially decide whether or not you have money? You should care. Even if it's not for artistic integrity, You should care so you don't go broke. You should not be saying, whatever, we made a thing, I don't know, we made kind of a thing, we just threw it out there, it's a whatever. Gah! I will continue. And I think there's so much pressure on originals, and there's so many fewer originals, that what I hope Megan does is it doesn't discourage. First of all, this grammar is terrible. I hope what this does is it doesn't. That's not how sentences work, jackass. But I hope what Megan does is it doesn't discourage other people who make sequels to now make them too close to the first. Motherfucker, okay, if you're making a sequel, it should be close to the first. The whole reason you're making a sequel is because people liked the first one and you have more story to tell. It should be a direct following of the first movie. It should continue where it left off. It should be the same genre. It should be the same characters. It should just continue the story. Grow the world a little more. Carry out the character arc a little further. You know, it should expand upon the original. It should not entirely subvert it. And the best part about this is that they already knew that if you change the genre and completely subvert your movie in the sequel, it will fail and people will be mad at you. Why did they already know that? Because we just did it with the Joker and everyone hated it. Someone else already taught you this lesson. Why are you so stupid? And then the part that makes me the most mad, which is all of this, but the part that really gets my goat, not literally, my goat died a long time ago when I was still in high school, but the part that drives me crazy is that he has the effing gall. I don't know why I censored fuck right there. I've already said it multiple times in this video. He has the fucking gall to say, well, if fans go out to the movie and this movie does well, the next one will be horror again. Bitch, you can't blame us if you don't get to make a third movie. You can't be like, well, we wanted to make a horror sequel, but people didn't support us, so we can't afford it. No, because if you wanted to make a horror sequel, this would be that horror sequel. You chose to make this sci-fi action. This should have been the horror sequel. This should not be the gateway to that. This is not a fundraiser for that. And if it was, it's a very ineffective one because you're not giving us what we want to raise the funds. So everything this jackass says is wrong and stupid and offensive on every level to me. And like I said before, I kind of want to stop watching Blumhouse films now because it just pisses me off how stupid this man is. And how every decision he made was wrong, and everything he said about it after the fact was more wrong. So yeah, back to my original thesis statements, people who make movies are stupid. And that's really it. That's all. I just needed to share that with somebody, because everyone's wrong and dumb. Look, if you're going to make a sequel, and this applies to both of these directors, really, and also anyone else out there who's going to make a sequel for something. If you're going to make a sequel, the best thing you can do is figure out what the fans liked about the original and give them more of that. And honestly, you are in the best time of human history to do that. I'm going to tie this back to Mario Kart again, because I still want to talk about how absolute ass Mario Kart World is. Oh, and by the way, they made that worse, because Nintendo just doubles down on their stupid decisions too. But, if you liked Mario Kart 8, you would go online and exclaim why you liked it. You know, people did that. I did multiple videos about it. Lots of people did. You know, everyone talked about, oh, we love these controls, we love these tracks because of the technical corners and the challenge. And then as they were doing the expansion pass, people were like, oh my god, we have 96 tracks now, that's so many tracks. And we have such cool variety. We have some retro tracks, we have some new original tracks, we have these crossovers from different franchises. You know, it's really fun, and everyone would explain what they liked about it. People are very communicative online. If you are the person that made a book or a comic or a film or a video game or whatever, you can find out with minimal button clicks what people think and why. It's all out there. It is amazingly easy to reach your audience and your fans and your detractors and get every piece of information from them. Little sidebar here, because that's what I do. I was on Reddit one time, and people were talking about what was the worst book-to-movie adaptation. And a lot of people were chiming in and explaining, like, this, The Bourne Identity was the worst one. Because once you get past the title, the book and the movie are nothing like each other. It changes the story entirely. Or the various James Bond ones, because they changed this aspect of the character, or this, or whatever. But the one that was mentioned most often, and got the most upvotes, was Eragon. A lot of people hated that. And I personally liked the movie. I did not read the books until after I saw the movie. But when I watched the movie, I'm like, this was a really enjoyable movie. So it might not be the most fair adaptation, but it still was a competent movie. It's still fun to watch. And a lot of people disagreed with me. And one of those people was the author of the fucking book. He was in that subreddit and saw those comments and agreed with them and said, no, they have a point. So, it is so easy to reach your audience. So, with Megan or with the Jurassic Park movies, there are so many people out there giving their opinions on what they like or dislike about the movies. Everyone hated the Chris Pratt trilogy of Jurassic Park, because of how cheesy his character was and the whole hand motion to train the dinosaur thing. People explained in great detail what they disliked about those movies. And on the flip side, people explained in equally great detail what they loved about the original movies. Likewise for Megan. Horror fans especially are very vocal and very involved in the community. Horror fans know what they like, and they're very forgiving if you try and fail at something, as long as you're earnest about it. If you make an independent horror film, and your budget's not quite there, so certain effects maybe suffer a little, or you didn't have the best writer, so some of the lines are a bit they will forgive that, because they know that you tried, they see what you were going for. When I did the movie Willowvale Harbor, it was the first time I had acted on camera. I was not good. I was not. Objectively, I was a shit actor. I'd like to think I'm better now. Jury's out. But I definitely was not good then. Despite that, someone online took the time out of their day to not only watch the whole movie, but then go online and write out a multi-paragraph review breaking down, all the technical aspects of the movie that they appreciated and all the plot points that they understood as they understood them, and what they liked about them, and what they found ambitious or enjoyable, and how they think it could be improved. And just horror fans want horror movies to succeed. Every horror movie. They want them all to do well. Horror fans love the genre more than any other fan of any other genre. So, the people that created Megan absolutely knew what people liked about that movie. It would be impossible not to know. Unless you made the movie and then just took the screener copy, threw it, at a bunch of people at a press event, and then ran away and hid in an underground bunker for years. It's impossible not to hear that feedback about the thing that you created. So they knew what people wanted. All they had to do was say, oh, let's do more of that. But they didn't. And that's entirely on them. That's my point here, is the feedback is always there. It's so easy to get. The whole fucking internet, A is for porn, but B is for people to share their opinions and state them as facts like I am doing now. So, it boggles the minds that they released these movies and they have these IPs and these franchises and they know exactly what the fan base enjoyed and what they want. And they were told by the fans, hey, here's the 3 things you can do to really improve this and take it from an 8 to a 10. It was all there. The fans will basically write the fucking movie for you. You don't even have to do any work. And they just decided, you know what? Let's ignore all of that. Let's throw away everything, all the information, all the feedback, everything we know about why the movie was received well. Let's scrap all of that. Let's make something entirely different for no reason other than we think we know better. And so, of course, it's failing because you're stupid and you don't listen to the people that pay for you to do these things. You can't afford to make these dumbass decisions because the money that's allowing you to make them comes from the people that hate those decisions. And I'll just shoehorn in Mario Kart again. People hate your new levels. They hate them. They do not like them at all. So to change your multiplayer so that people now have to play these dumbass intermission levels instead of just doing 3 laps on an actual track, you're stupid, Nintendo. Your new console and the only exclusive game you have on it right now are going to fail because you're stupid. Nostalgia will only get you so far. Eventually, people will realize you're not giving them the things they're nostalgic for, you're ruining those things, and they will hate you for it. And honestly, I'm excited to see that happen because fuck Nintendo, you really suck right now. And fuck the guy from Blumhouse because God is he stupid. Okay, that's my rant over. Goodbye.